Hello students, this is your instructor Bill Dodson, and I'm coming to you this time in a video about blogging in the classroom. I wanted to do something a little bit different than just having everything online. Although all the materials, the videos, the instructions, everything is on Moodle, and the information that I'm going to refer to right here is on there as well on a website. But I wanted to just to do this video for you to be a little bit different and, quote, to use the technology in the classroom. So what about blogging in the classroom? And by the way, for informational purposes, we will continue doing the totally online class until further notice. I would like to do at least one more, maybe two face-to-face classes for any of you that can come to the classroom on campus. And I'd like to do at least one total Zoom class that we'll do some other time totally on Zoom. So we'll see how that goes. But for right now, until further notice, we're going to be staying totally online. So let's talk about blogging in the classroom. Why do you want to blog in the classroom? Well, one answer is communication. Blogging or blogs are a good way to communicate, depending on who your audience is. Information that is put on a blog will be out there for your audience to be able to communicate with you. If you want to get information to them, if they want to get information back to you, it's a good way to communicate, a good quick way to communicate. Another reason why you would want to blog is a teacher blogging about their subject. Now that probably is the main reason why teachers would want to blog, to put information on their blog about the subject that they teach, things that will help their students, possibly the parents, and other people in the child's life that will help them to understand what you're teaching, especially in this time of the pandemic when a lot of teachers are online anyway. Blogging would be another good resource for that. And then there's also the option of student blogging, to not only have the teacher create a blog with this kind of information, but have the option maybe on the teacher's blog to invite students to blog on the teacher's blog, or to have the students create their own blog to blog about the subject matter. And that can be private, it can be public. The blogging platforms, when you create your blog, will allow you to have those options. So student blogging would be a good option, especially for the older students. And now the difference in a blog and a website. A blog, the post, as you already know, appear at the top of the page. A website, they're in different pages that you click on. So the most recent information on a website, you would have to maybe check when it was updated at the bottom, or look at some kind of an announcement on the front page. But the blog post will be at the top. So the information the teacher wants to have the students or the parents see will be at the very top. And a blog is updated more often than a website. Generally, a blog has information that would need to be seen in the next day, or at the most during a week. A website, depending on the purpose of the website, could be updated every month, or depending on what the teacher wants to use a website for. But a blog will be updated more often. And a blog is more topic specific than a website would be. A website you'd think would be all inclusive with all kinds of pages and different links and things. But a blog is usually specific to a certain topic, whether it be the teacher's classroom or the subject the teacher is teaching, or certain information that the teacher wants to give out. So those are the reasons why you would create a blog. One of the reasons in this course, the reason why is because it's an assignment. So we'll see how that goes. Number two, how to start a blog. Now, as I've said, I've given you information on Moodle, on First, you can go look at many different kinds of educational blogs to get an idea of what other teachers are doing. And I've given you information on there, this information that I'm talking about also. And then instructions and videos on how to create your blog, which will be one of your assignments. So how to start? First, decide who your audience is going to be. Is your audience only going to be your students? That will dictate what kind of information you have on your blog, what kind of content will be there. Is your blog also going to be related to parents? Are you going to have your students' parents or grandparents or their caregivers? Are you going to have information on your blog for them as well? So if that's the case, it'll be a little bit different. Possibly your blog could be for other teachers. You could be sharing information that you have learned, or good websites or good apps and those kind of things, or research with other teachers. So that could be something else that your blog will continue. Decide on who your audience is going to be. And then what are you going to call your blog? All blogs have a title, a name. And you don't want to have a name like My Classroom Blog. That is blah. And probably it's already been used by someone. So you need to come up with a unique, eye-catching blog name. The blog that I have, the inspirational blog that I have done with inspirational posts on it, I call Revelations from the Road. There's 2 R's in there, which sort of maybe catch your attention. What does that mean, Revelations from the Road? But be thinking about what you're going to call your blog. It's going to make a difference. And what will your blog be about? We've already talked about that. When you start your blog, you need to know from the beginning what it's going to be about and why you're doing it. And then who will blog? I've mentioned that as well. Is it just going to be you who are going to be doing the blogging, or are you going to have your students do some blogging as well? Maybe on their site, you give them information on how to create their own blog, or some of the platforms will allow you to invite other people into your blog so they can post on it as well. So think about that. And then updates. How often are you going to update it? As I said previously, a blog is updated more quickly. Certainly every week, maybe every day or every other day. So think about that. And then some things to include on your blog. You want to have, of course, information about your subject, information that you want your students to know, but you also want to give some outside links. You're going to be talking about information that you're studying, that you're giving the students in the classroom, and outside links are a good thing to include there. Links to websites, links to Twitter accounts, links to other blogs. You know, those are things that information that you could give them, but it's much easier to put a link there that the students can click on and go to and find out that information. Also, blog platforms, most of them would allow you to track the visits, to track the number of people that come to your blog. So if definitely you're doing this for an assignment in your classroom with students, you definitely want to know which students have been there. And if you're having them to respond or do comments on your blog, then that would show who they are and that they've been there. But we want to know who's been to your blog. And then blog promotion is something else that you might want to think about, things to include. If this is just a classroom blog, then you probably don't need to promote it anywhere except to your students and their family, maybe the teachers in your school or your school system. But if this is a blog that you want to share with other teachers, with people outside your school division, outside your classroom, then you would want to promote it. Maybe on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, or other social media platforms, or other blogs, by email. There's many different ways to promote your blog. So depending on the purpose of your blog, think about promoting it. And also interesting content. You want to have content on your blog that is interesting. not just boring information, but do as much as you can to make your blog interesting to the people that you have set up to be a part of your blog. And class specific, again, if this is just for your students, then you're going to have things specific for your class, like we're going to go on a field trip at such and such a day. You need to have your permission forms turned in at such and such a time. We have a test on this next Tuesday. Those are specific things that you would want to have just for your class. So again, if this blog is just going to be for your class, then you need to have class-specific information on there. And then thought-provoking. Again, the older students, this would be more for older students, but content that you have on your blog, instead of just giving out information like they would read on a handout or a website, put some content on your blog that would cause your students to think. They need to learn how to be critical thinkers and not just to regurgitate or give out information that they have learned or they have seen. They need to think about such things. So think about putting things on your blog that will cause your students to think. Think outside the box, because that's what they're going to need to do. And then require interaction. It would be best for your blog, especially, now think about it if you're teaching your students face-to-face and you're asking questions. You want them to interact. Well, a lot of times the shy students will be hesitant to interact. They will be upset or be nervous if you call on them to answer a question or give their thoughts. But on a blog, when you're asking students to comment or interact, they may be more willing to do that because they have time to think about what they're going to say, what they're going to type. So it's good to require interaction on your blog. So these are some things that, again, I have put in some links and some websites on Moodle that you can go and read in more detail about this. But if I were to do a lecture in the classroom, this is the kind of thing that I would have said. So good luck in creating your blog. And again, if you have any questions or comments or something doesn't work right, please get in touch with me. And I hope to, quote, see you very soon.